Hello, everybody. We are here with the ThriveWell Podcast with one of my favorite guests, a returning guest, Nick Kristock of Fleece Thank You. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so let's pick up where we left off, let's start with Fleece Thank You and then move on from there. So what is new since the last time we had you here with Fleece Thank You?
So since we last talked, we continue to grow in blankets, so more and more blankets every year. Probably our record blanket event since you and I last talked was maybe 3,000 blankets. That's now 4,700. So our largest single event, 4,700 blankets.
Well, it's a significant jump.
It is, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we're up to about 20 to 25,000 blankets a year right now. And then also new since we last talked, there's about 18 major children's hospitals or units in the state of Michigan. So if you have a child that's under 18 and they get sick, there's like 18 places where they could stay overnight. We are distributing blankets to all of them.
Amazing.
Michigan recognizes 6 major hospitals as a major children's hospital. So you've got like your Mott in Ann Arbor, Helen DeVos on the west side, Corwell in Royal Oak, Flint Hurley, up north, Traverse City Munson. And we are the exclusive blanket provider of every major children's hospital now. So we give them hundreds of blankets on a monthly basis.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really growing.
We are still getting responses.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Which is so cool. That's really one of the, and we share it throughout the company the second they come in. So it's really
awesome.
Such an incredible moment of just that full circle, like, amazing work.
We just had a response last week, and we looked at the timestamp, and her blanket was made, and she received it in 2018, and she was responding now.
Wow.
Yeah, and she talked about, she's like, hey, I've watched this video so many times, and I just wasn't ready to message back, but I am now. So that was like chills. Yeah.
I mean, think about the impact, right? From 2018 to keep this video in her pocket and have it be such a big part of that journey. Yeah. That's incredible. Truly, every time we get a response, I'm just like,
awesome.
I probably watch it 5 times in a row right away just because it's so incredible. All right, I'm looking at you right now. You have this hat on.
Yep.
Upside down, Grateful. Now, I know Grateful Human is your merchandise, right? Your gear line. We've collabed together here at Thrive. What is the upside down Grateful for?
So just this style of hat and the upside down words was a trend, and we love experimenting at Fleece Thank You. And I think no matter how big a company gets, you probably agree, like you have to have that heart to try new things. And a good filter for like, did this go well? Did it not? Are we wasting time? Are we investing good time? But you have, like, if you lose that experimentation heart, your culture will start to stale, I believe.
Yeah.
So we love experimenting, and the Grateful Human line is like the perfect breeding ground to experiment.
Yeah.
And so the second we see a trend, we're like, cool, let's just make a product like that. And usually I'll just go wear it out in the community. And then if I get good or bad feedback, then I'll say, cool, let's put it on the site or let's not. And this was just one of those things. And this hat alone has sold hundreds in the last 6 months since we brought this out. Yeah. Okay. This one is a big mover. So I'm very happy that we experimented with this one.
Okay, so I might be just old and under a rock. I've not seen this trend. This is new news
This
for
style
me.
of hat with like this color and a colored brim and then an upside down words.
Wow.
I'm not a Gen Z, but maybe a Gen Z would be able to tell us more about this trend. It's a thing.
Well, hey, it's working. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, sorry, I derailed us here.
No, it's all good.
So back to Fleece Thank You. So more blankets than last year, which is a massive win. Means more people are involved, more exposure. Talk to me about the process change that's happened there. That's really significant.
We made a really cool partnership in the last year. One of our board members works in the government, and he connected us to the Michigan Department of Corrections. And they have programs where incarcerated inmates get to do different volunteer community service work to impact the community while they're incarcerated.
Okay.
And they have a fabric cutting program, and they have a washing program. And they've had hospital accounts in the past on their washing program. So we started working with them, and now our supply chain has impact at every step, which is really cool. So we source the fabric from overseas, comes in, and it gets cut by incarcerated inmates right here in Michigan. That cut fabric then moves to Farmington Hills, where adults with disabilities through our workforce development program will assemble those, match prints and solids, put those together, stamp that video message patch on the blanket. goes out to great events like an event at Thrive where we make blankets together. And then those blankets get washed by incarcerated inmates where we then package them up and they get delivered to a kid in the hospital. So 5 different stops along the way, multiple hands touching the blanket, but each one creating impact of its own. And it's really unique, and it's a really special part of where we've evolved to.
Yeah, so as you look at that as the person running Fleece and Thank You, and you look at all these different steps, what is it that you see as the greatest impact of moving towards like incarcerated folks helping out along the line? If we looked at it as like a line of work, of labor moving towards giving this to someone in need, what is that?
There's an overarching narrative there of like, you have the ability to make impact regardless of your circumstance. And at every step of the way, we live that out. From the incarcerated inmates who are helping on the front end to the adults with disabilities who are helping put those together, to the people that show up to great events and help make the blankets, to the mother and father and the kid who receives the blanket. Regardless of your circumstance, here's multiple places along the way where these people have lots of reasons to not make an impact with their time on this earth, and they're choosing to help in that way. And I think we can take a good lesson from that.
Yeah, you can always dig a little deeper. I love that. And I think contribution, like your merch line of Grateful Human, truly is that moment where you get to hit, like, I'm so grateful for the life I live and that I can spend some time giving back to whomever needs it. I love that. Incredible. Okay, so we've got some Fleece and Thank You events coming up. You have your annual Fleece and Thank You event. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we started an event called Make a Blanket Day.
Yeah.
The thought was we'll have lots of individual events throughout the year, but what if one day under one roof, thousands of people, thousands of blankets got made? We had this idea back in 2017 and did 2017, 2018, and then in 19 decided, well, what is there a world record for this? Like, could we break the Guinness World Record? Thought maybe 500 people would show up to an event. 1,500 people came. We made thousands of blankets, set the Guinness World Record. It was wild, and now that event has continued since then. And so coming up here, we've got Make a Blanket Day 2025, and we will be making over 1,000 blankets and hope to see thousands of people there just like last year.
So incredible. And that's at UWM?
At UWM Sports Complex, Saturday, September 20th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It is like a big carnival-like atmosphere. Bunch of tables, bunch of blanket making. We've got bounce houses this year. We've got learn how to play soccer sessions happening. We've got a massive DJ coming. Really, really cool stuff. So it's a party.
How fun. Okay, so how can people get involved in that?
You can just go to fleecenthankyou.org and you can sign up to come to Make a Blanket Day. The thought behind Make a Blanket Day is that we wanted this event to be accessible to everyone. So it is a $0 registration. Anyone can come and give 5 minutes or stay 5 hours and help make one blanket or make hundreds of blankets if they choose to. You can just show up on the day of or register at fleecenthankyou.org.
Love it. Love it. Well, we will be there. There's a big group
Cool.
from Thrive
Awesome.
coming. We're
Great.
super pumped about it. Yeah, we
Love
were
it.
just talking about it today at our
Awesome.
meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, we like to get our clients involved. I mean, we're moving people in and out of the community. We want them to know about things like this that are hyper local and national. Has anything changed in your national approach? Just picking up more and more exposure? Or?
Yeah, we've continued to grow. A lot of the Fortune 500 companies are using us every month for volunteerism activities. Wow. So you've got companies like Discover and Capital One who do a big 4,500, 5,000 blanket event once a year, to companies like Salesforce who are placing orders almost every week now and shipping 10 blankets somewhere around the country for a team to make something together on site or individually at their home. So I think we've been really grateful to build a service and an offering that can help a company that has people all over the country or trying to get people together in one place. And it's obviously easy. And like you said, with the video message impact, it's something different. You get to see that impact front and center.
Yeah. So if you're not a company that's that large, right, a Fortune 500, you're a small business, how could you get involved on that scale? So as you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking, well, shoot, how can Thrive just have this open avenue of opportunity for people rather than just one event throughout the year? So how would we go about doing that?
Tons of ways. Even just like giving time. If you're local to Metro Detroit, we have volunteer shifts at Farmington Hills at our facility where a small team will come in and spend a couple hours helping put some of those kits together. working side by side with those adults with disabilities to put some of those kits together or help quality check some of the blankets that come back. Every human is different. There's billions of different people on this planet, which means blankets come back very different. And I often will tell people, imagine if Nike sold shoes, but when you bought your shoes from Nike, they sent you the boot, the laces, the tongue, the swoosh, and they said, here's the steps. Put that together, send that back to us. Nike would get billions of different shoes back to them.
Yes.
And that's what we combat with Fleece and Thank You is we want to keep the personal touch. So how do we do that but scale still the quality side? And so we love volunteer groups who have attention to detail, big or small, and can help us with the quality control on site. Do a small blanket event with your group. Come to Make a Blanket Day, see it firsthand. Lots of ways.
One thing that I think is so important for entrepreneurs or people who are participating in our businesses is to understand what brought us to this point of entrepreneurship, of creation, of innovation to create service or product for the world we live in. What was that moment for you? And I know we discussed it on our original podcast, but as you look back now, every year you get further down the lane, we kind of tweak our hindsight as 2020 and realization. What is it that brought you to this moment of saying, I'm not only going to do this, I'm going to go so deep in this that it's going to hit world records. We're going to help thousands of people across the country.
At the core of entrepreneurship is like this layer of curiosity, right? I think we ask a lot of questions about the world and why it is the way it is and how it ought to be versus how it is. And my journey started with a ton of question asking. And so when I was living in Australia, working with a couple different charities there and moved back to Michigan, and my twin sister calls me and says, hey, I need you to make a blanket for one of my patients, our default is like, okay, do you need 1? Do you need 5? Do you need 10? And those questions then sparked what eventually became Fleece and Thank You. And we've never lost that spirit of being curious. And I really think that just as a community, we need to ask more questions about more things all the time. And then we just need to care really deeply about things. And we're in culture really wants you to care a little bit and move on to the next thing and care a little bit. And that we can get swept up in that. And I get swept up in that all the time. And the next thing you know, a month goes by and you're like, well, what did I really care deeply about last month? And did I just have a bunch of very surface level things happen? But that's really powerful. So ask a ton of questions and then care deeply. And I mean care enough to wait a couple seconds and hold the door open for someone. Care enough to just wear a smile even on days when it's really hard and you don't feel like you can. All those little things matter. And that's Fleece and Thank You in a nutshell has been a product. Entrepreneurship for me has been a product of I never know the answer to something, but I ask a lot of questions and I'll care a lot to go find the answers to them.
Where would you say that desire to care so deeply comes from?
A little bit's how you're wired, right? A little bit's how you're raised. And then a third part is the interactions you have with the people in your life. So I think for me, early on, I was a curious kid. So I think I was wired that way. I think I was just inherently had something about me that had that curiosity wiring. And then I think I was raised in a family where they were gentle and stern in a really good balance. And there wasn't a ton of praise. So I think there was always this expectation of oh, well, maybe I can do a little bit better. Maybe I can go a little bit more. There was always this dig and this itch to just go that little bit extra, which I think just translated to, okay, let's care a little bit more about this or ask a little bit more about that. And then I think I've been really, really privileged to have really solid friends and relationships in my life of people that didn't stifle that creativity or that curiosity, but either stoked it or just were like, Nick, I'm along for the ride. Ask whatever questions you want. I don't know where this is going, but I'm happy to be a co-pilot with you.
I love that. Relationships, and the desire to just do a little bit more, find out a little bit more. Amazing. I similarly to what you're talking about, I grew up in a wonderful upbringing and didn't receive a ton of praise. It was yeah, that's fantastic. What's next? What are you going to do next? Anything's possible.
Yeah.
So what's up next?
Totally.
And that truly is one of my reasons for moving into entrepreneurship is realizing well, wait, this could be done a little bit differently. And what kind of impact could that have? And how can we change the game for the better?
Yep.
So I can appreciate that deeply.
When you started Thrive, what were some of the questions that you're man, I'm asking these questions and I don't see the answer's out there clearly, so I'm going to go build something that answers it for me.
It was teamwork. I'm a team person through and through. I mean, I can track it all the way back to childhood before sports, and then sports, I would sabotage the solo races just to get to the relays. And so when I came to real estate after being in corporate America, I was surprised that there was no support for the agent. It was this badge of honor to do solo work and do it all on your own. And if you didn't, you were kind of this chump, right? Like, and it was like, well, hang on, nowhere else in the world operates like that. You guys do realize this. And every time I would ask more questions, it was like, well, you want to keep all of the money for yourself. That's why. And then when you get to the point where you're leaving money on the table, that's when you hire somebody. And for someone that's not money motivated, I appreciate money. I respect money for what it can do. That just wasn't a good enough answer. I thought there has to be more here. There has to be other people that care about more than just making every penny that can be made. And I'm a big proponent of everything is better together. We can do so much more. We can go so much further. We can deliver better service and products when you have a collective genius rather than just one. And so it sparked my constant curiosity around how do you build something that has more specialists in different areas and divisions and teamwork so that you're not this pioneer of like, rawr, I'm doing it all on my own, but I'm not living the life I want because I don't have the time to. So
everything's more worth it together, too.
Yes, exactly.
Like if I gave you the chance to snap your fingers and be on the top of Mount Everest, but you didn't have the climb to get there and you were all by yourself, be like, okay, it's cool, but I'm not sharing it with anyone. I didn't actually like climb to get here. But like, holy smokes, the climb to get there and then being there up there with the people that you climbed with, it's so much more worth it together.
Yes, too. I totally agree. At the company meeting today, we were talking about why leverage is so important in life and business. And leverage not being like delegation or, I don't want to, so you should. And it's almost this idea that there's better than if you delegate or if there's leverage. And it's not, that concept for me is not what I mean when I say leverage. Leverage to me is sharing the opportunity, the delivery of saying, hey, I know I'm not as great in this area. Can you help me? And I'll help you in the ways that I can. And together, it's just so much sweeter. It's like only using salt versus salt, pepper, and garlic, right? It's like, well,
tastes
everything's
so much better.
A little bit better with all those ingredients.
For sure.
Okay, so in the spirit of seeing you thriving, seeing your company making such an amazing impact on the world, what is it that you could help people understand from a wellness perspective as you've made this journey, as you've climbed this mountain of putting together these pieces of saying, hey, wow, incarcerated folks could make an impact from the inside to the outside and giving them the honor of receiving those messages too back. How do you keep it all together in the innovation, in the creation, in the executing of the work, and still have time to be a husband, to be Nick, to have hobbies, friends, family? What's that look like for you?
Big question.
It is a big one,
that was big. So many ways to take that. Well, first off, from an entrepreneurship side, anyone who is or plans to be an entrepreneur, you have to acknowledge up front that you are going to be your business to a lot of people. And there's going to be a lot of interactions where someone sees you for the first time after not seeing you. Oh, how's Thrive going? Yeah. Well, hold on. Do you want to know how Jess is doing or how's Thrive going?
Right.
You just have to take that on the chin every time because it's just how the world will view you. And so I think then you have to be really good at separating when the business maybe doesn't go the way you wanted it to. It's not your identity that's under attack here, but your mind wants that to be the case, right? And then if you can make that separation, then all the good can be separated as well. And you don't take the best of times and make that about the business or about you, nor do you take the worst of times because they're two different fronts. And that's a really hard, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that concept. And you get reminded of every time when you see someone and the first thing they ask is about the business that you created, which you're very grateful. You're so grateful that someone would ask about it because you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. But it's also nice when someone asks you about how's Jess doing as well. And that is, you have to wake up every day and put effort towards that, to put effort towards the great thing that happened at Thrive today not being the same thing as being a great mother. They're the same but different, right? And it's oxymoronic, it's deep, it's all the things. And I think if we, as the leader of an organization, if we can do a really good job separating the two, being really professional about our business, caring a ton about it, but also making sure people know I've got this great side to me that's a mom that has chickens that lay eggs for my family. It's like, okay, cool, you're this multifaceted human being that deserves tons of respect when we're talking professionally, and then tons of respect as we're talking as friends. And if you can be that, again, effort every day. We got to wake up, and it does not happen or come just by showing up. Then that to me flows down into your culture, and everyone understands, okay, cool, I am a person here, and I am a team member. I have a job to do, but I'm valued for being a human as well. And those are the people that, like, when somebody gets that and you get that, that's a culture that everybody wants to be in.
Yeah, I love this concept. The one thing you said about your identity is not the business. The business is a facet of something you care about deeply and you're definitely ingrained in. That is so hard. I know for myself, as you were talking, I was sitting here kind of going through my own filters of how often do I disassociate with Thrive just to have that viewpoint rather than I am Thrive. I'm going to work on that. That was really
I'm working
good.
on it too.
That was really good. Because it's something Justin and I being in business together, running a business together, we have to work on dissociation from husband, wife running a business, which is very professional, the way we work with each other, around each other, speak to each other in this container. And then when we get home, really wanting to run traditional roles of like, I'm the wife that wants to be in the garden and cook the food, and you're the dad that's kicking the ball with the kid. And we're not talking about real estate in between on the air, hey, while you're kicking, did you look into this?
For
so
sure.
It is something that we're actively on, but from a solo standpoint, I haven't really thought about it for just me personally. It's really good.
Yeah, it's a tough road. And it's like you want to separate the things that matter, but that would be, just to leave it at that would be not enough. It's like, no, so many things matter to Thrive, but so many things matter to Jess. And it's like when the thing that's supposed to matter matters, care about, be in that moment.
Yes.
Because too often we'll be in both, right? And then it's like you look back and you're like, man, I was never really in either one in that moment because I was kind of trying to do both things. So
yes,
it's tough. Yeah, it takes effort.
I have one tip on that a friend of mine gave me. He's a mega successful entrepreneur, author, and he told me, be where your feet are. Wherever your feet are, be there. And I was like, gosh, that's good. That's so good. It's so simple and something you can easily say, okay, if I'm at home and I'm barefoot in the garden, like, this is where I'm at. I'm not thinking about Thrive right in this moment. So
simple, but it's the first thing to go.
Yes.
It's tough.
Oh, it's easy to say.
Especially with attention. So boom, notification. Yeah, it's so simple, but it's the first thing to go.
In little areas, think about little areas where we practice this. From a children's standpoint, I have 3 kids, and if I'm on my phone and they walk up to me, I no matter what have created a habit where I put this down.
Good.
Awesome. Just so that there's eye contact, there's focus, so I can be where my feet are with the most important thing to me. So I love that. Really great advice. Okay, now what do you do to support yourself as Nick? All-encompassing Nick. Nick the human, Nick the business owner, Nick the husband. What do you do to support your mind, your body, your work ethic, everything that is needed in order for you to be those things?
Movement's huge. So every morning I am down. We have like a couple weights and a treadmill in the basement, and I call it Planet Kristock. And me and my wife are down there every morning. It's a really special time. I love the mornings with her and just to exercise and move. And I used to be really regimented in a workout plan, but now I've got some exercise written on a board, and maybe I'll be on the tread a little bit, and if I'm feeling like going, I'll go lift some weights, and just movement, right? And walking and all that. So if I don't have movement, I can feel myself start to get irritable. If I skip a couple workouts in a row, you can feel it. That'd be one thing. The second would be if I feel irritableness happening or being short with the people I love, that to me is like an instant cue I'm moving too fast. So, something's moving too fast, and and I can blame all the things I want. And I can blame the deal that we didn't get or the event that fell through, but I need to slow down for a second and take a beat, because that's a clear indicator to me that I need to reset in that moment. So I think a lot of movement, pay really attention to my reactions to things. And then third, I've got so many activities and hobbies that are so important to me and are outlets for me. So I play hockey every Tuesday night. I'm probably good for a soccer game once a month in a soccer league that I play in. And I love reading books. And so I've got 7 books on my nightstand, and I read a little bit of each one. And I really think it's important to have those types of outlets too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the amount of self-awareness you're talking about is substantial. So like the emotional intelligence around, hey, I'm aware that my reactions are not in alignment with my values, so I'm going to slow it down a minute and explore that. And really isolating, the ability to isolate the way you just did, right? You took that question that was fairly large and said, well, there's 3 things, and these are the things that I do. I find a lot when I talk to entrepreneurs that it is that cut and dry. You either are on your way to figuring out that recipe and you know there's a recipe with simple ingredients, or you've got it down pat. Like I move, I'm in tune, and I have my hobbies. So I love that. You have some special news that you just shared with me that I think is amazing. So you're on your way to fatherhood.
Yep.
Yeah, so November baby.
Yep, November baby, about 60 days away. Yeah, I'm excited.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So when it comes to, I am gonna share some advice of
Hit me.
first babies.
I'm a sponge.
I got it.
Please.
I have to.
I'll soak it all up, I
I've had
promise.
3 kids. I've mommed most of my
Yep.
life. All right. So my number 1 advice is, even though it's going to be in your nature to do everything, and you will, no matter what, to take care of baby, carve out highly intentional time to take care of mom in a way in which she's not asking. Because she'll be clear. Like when moms go into it, we're clear. Like, I need the water now.
Yep.
That's what I need right
Yep,
now.
yep, yep.
But beyond that, go into stretching to isolate her ability to heal in a way that isn't wrapped up in the mom identity. So similar to what we're talking about with business, it's so easy for us young parents when we're first starting, back when I first started. I just realized I clumped myself into that, us young parents. When we first start out, that we get so caught up in it and we lose sight of all of the things that make us who we are to get to where we got. And so if Dad can help out with that, that's probably my biggest piece of advice that I wish I would have known.
Is there a
21
micro
years ago.
example of give mom time or space, or is there any practical?
So I would say if she loves, so for instance, let's use the example, if you guys love working out in the morning, that's going to be the first thing that probably goes for a minute. And as it should, she needs to heal and get into a place where that's safe. But once that time comes and she still doesn't want to because she wants to prioritize baby, and you know at the end of the day this is something that helps her, really help support getting that moving and make it as comfortable and convenient as possible, and without holding accountability. Spouses, that's kind of tough. But by creating the space to say, I've got baby, I've got this, take 30 minutes to yourself, even if you're slowly walking on the treadmill, just to get back into that kind of muscle memory of things that served her at a really high level.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, last question, best question.
Awesome.
Okay. If anyone were listening right now that is looking to go from a place of striving to thrive and be grateful about the journey they're on, because we know entrepreneurship, innovation, creation, it can be extremely hard at times too. How can you help them understand that thriving well trumps the grit, the grind of chasing the money that we're all in need of when we create something so we can continue to create and give back? How can you help somebody move past that and still choose to take care of themselves and be well along the way?
There's you'll find no shortage of research online about like these things people were interviewed and said, as they were close to their deathbed or passing, right? And I'm not going to get more with us, but like they're all the same answer.
Yeah.
I wish I spent more time with my family. I wish I told the people in my life that I loved them more, and I wish I would have worked less. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't work at all. It's just part of, we have to work. But I really think that don't lose the perspective on those answers. because they're always the same answer. When somebody is lucky enough to be old and gray and make it to that phase of life and not be taken earlier than that, and they get asked that question, it's always the same answer. How could we not look at that and you have to keep that perspective. And whatever someone's struggling with along the way, think about the people in your life that matter to you, how you're treating them, and that you're not making something a priority that isn't supposed to be the main priority. Again, like, we separate things that matter, but who Jess is and who Jess loves and how she loves them, it's everything, and it's your entirety of your legacy. And Fleece and Thank You and Thrive, they will go on for decades to come, and people that's not you and I will sit at this table and talk about things. But at the end of the day, like, your husband, your family, your kids, they'll remember how you love them, how you showed up for them. That's your legacy, and never lose sight of that. And every day, after a good meeting or a bad meeting, I try so hard to, like, center myself and just say, you know what, let me just make sure whatever my next interaction is, that I can be who I'm supposed to be for that person, that I can love them well. And if I get to the end of a day and I've done that for the most part, I really feel like I'm thriving, even if some of the meetings went bad or some of the meetings went great. It's like, those are secondary to how did I love the people that I interacted with, because that's your legacy. Your family will never forget how you love them. And I've seen you with your kids at a blanket event here, and I know that you love them deeply. And that's like, that'll live forever,
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, because I think it is one of the easiest things to say, I'll get to that in 6 months or, in a few weeks, and it turns into a year. And then that's where we find that the unwellness begins, right? Divorce starts happening. Parenthood goes to the wayside. So I appreciate that so much. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. And it's the thread in there is just gratitude. I hear it in the way you're speaking of, I slow down to say, am I going to be interacting in a way that makes sense, that's in alignment, and bringing that grateful heart forward. So thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Likewise.
Yeah. Nick, thank you so much for joining us on the ThriveWell Podcast. This was a total blast with some major nuggets. If people want to get in contact with you and, 1, get your merch, 2, get involved, how can they do it?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I can't imagine how stacked your calendar is, so to take time and just chat is awesome. It always is awesome, and I love our conversation, so thank you. It truly meant a lot. And if anyone has listened to this and wants to get involved with Fleece and Thank You, just loves the hat because they saw the upside down grateful, fleeceandthankyou.org is the best place to start. Make a blanket, volunteer an hour, come to Make a Blanket Day. Lots of ways to get involved. Order a hat and just wear it around. Talk about what you're grateful for. That's usually the best place to start. That's where most of my journey is documented, through the Fleece and Thank You social media side of things. So you can find us on all the main channels, having fun.
Love it. Thank you so much.